Alright, how you doing? So, welcome to the Flax ball. Now, with all the Flax projects, you should always consider how you're going to cut it. And just Google the Flax protocol if you're not familiar with it. But always think about how you're cutting it. Okay, so today, for a ball, you either need a pair of scissors or you need a knife. So, the way what's going to happen is, when you harvest the flax, you kind of want to get two pieces that are similar and two pieces that haven't got too much raggedy ends. So these ends here are looking pretty good. So what I'm going to do is, depending on the size of the ball, depends on the length. So today I'm going to make quite a big ball. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of put these two tips together, and roughly where they start to come down and join and get together with the sort of the real tough fibres, if you leave too much of that on, it's going to be really stiff at the end. So I kind of like a little bit, because that's the white stuff that gives you a bit of colour. So what I do is I sort of tend to keep a little bit of that sort of butt end, that hard stuff, but not too much. Okay, so I've trimmed two pieces the same size. Now I'm just going to quickly dress them. So what we want to do is we want to have a taper. We want it to be fat in the middle and then taper down the bottom. So what I do is on the rib of each side of the leaf, you just get your finger, you just pinch in a little bit. What happens is it doesn't take much off the top. It takes quite a bit off the bottom. So we just pinch it and pull it off the bottom. So I'll show you again with this piece. So on the outer, you've got the orange bit, so you just pinch it here, pull it off the top, quite a bit comes off the bottom. Okay. So, the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to split the leaf in half. I like to just hold it and run my thumb down it like so. Okay, so now we've split this one piece into two leaves. And now I'm going to put them both green side up with the tips together, and I'm going to tie a really simple basic overhand knot there. Nice and tight. So that one's ready to go. So I'll just do the same process with the other one. Okay, so now what we have is we'll just lay these both like this. Okay, so now we have two separate pieces of flax, but in those two pieces of flax we've got two pieces of flax joined. So we've got four separate pieces of flax. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to lay these ones out like so. Okay, I'll lay one on the top, one on the bottom. I'm just going to scissor that apart like this. Top one down the bottom. I'm going to hold the other piece, and I'm going to bring one out to the top one goes out to the left, the bottom one goes out to the right. What's going to happen is I'm going to feed the right one, the one closest to me, I'm going to feed it over and under. Okay, and I'm going to get the other piece, and that's going to go under and then over. Okay, so I've got that little grid pattern there, the four. Okay, I'm going to slide that all the way through until I get to the knot. I'm going to slide this all the way through. So what I'm left with is I'm left with this pattern here. Okay, two on my left hand. Really important that this one on the far left of your left hand is coming out the top here. So I've got two on my left, two on my right. So basically I'm going to do a pattern of the left one always comes under. So I've got 1, 2, 3 hanging out the right now. And the far right one is just going to come over the middle one, but under the left one. So I'm going to do that. Give it a bit of a pull. And you'll see that I'm back to that pattern again. So the far left one always comes under. So you've got 1, 2, 3 like so. The far right one always comes just over the middle and under that one there. So what happens is, as I'm doing this now, I'm building each side of the ball or the cube that I want to make. So I'll do that again. Far left comes under, far right goes over, Okay, so you get to a point where you've done it 3 times. This is where it's really important that underneath the ball, you just need to keep control of it so it doesn't turn into a spiral, into a snake. Okay, if you have a piece poking out like that, it's fine for now. So I'm just going to quickly speed this up. So I'm just doing that basic pattern of the far left comes under, 1, 2, 3, far right goes over the top of that one there comes under. So I'm just going to build this ball all the way up, and you can actually, once you've done it a couple of 100 times, you can get it quite quick. Each time that you get it together, just use that opportunity to pull it nice and tight, keep it clean. Okay, once you start to get to the end like this, what you want to do is now you want to start slowing down and start to get these final turns quite nice and tight. Okay, so I'll make these quite nice and tight, because this is the part of the ball that's going to be seen. Okay, so you can dress that a bit better. Okay, so once we get to a point here where the ball's nice and tight, and you know, you've got between 15 and 30 centimeters, that's a little bit more. But once you're ready to finish it off, the way that I finish this is I will just hold my thumb there. So I've pegged that hole, I've pinned both sides out. I'll start with the middle, with the second one in, which is on my left side. I'll start with this one here. Okay, and I'm just going to basically try and find where that wants to go. So the next move wants to wrap under here like so. So I'm just going to get this, slide it through. Okay, so that one's finished now, that one's pegged off. Okay, so this one here is my next one, so I'm going to work my way now around. I'm left with these two here. Carry on with that. And bring this one around here. Okay, so you can, that there is enough. I'll give this a pull, nice and tight. So depending on what you want to do with this ball, whether you're going to kick it or whether it's going to be ornamental, depends. That if you want to make something that's going to take a lot of hard use, then I'd feed it through a couple of times to really cement that in. But if I'm just going to make something that's going to be decorative, maybe a throwing ball, you only really need to go through tuck under once. Now the real trick with making this look good is if you can try and cut those ends off where you've threaded it under as close as you can to where they come out, like here. It just means that when you've finished this ball, you end up with something that almost looks like a puzzle. You don't really know where it started, you don't really know where it's finished. So that's a flax ball, flax cube, amazing, great fun. It does use 2 pieces of flax, but not too complicated. One of the tips that I found with teaching newbies with this is when you get the flax out, if you do a 1, 2, number the pieces, and 3, 4. So when you're weaving it, you can just say to your students, okay, so now we're going to put 2 under 3 and 4 is going to go over the top of 2. So definitely different ways to try and teach people, but that is flax ball. Good luck.